Hi guys, welcome to the UI guys. So another day and another episode of Javascript.info. So till the last video we had covered 1.2 of it, and today we'll discover 1.3, which is a very simple one. So there is nothing much on this one, so that we can quickly wrap up this one. So this is saying code editors. What that essentially means is what kind of code editor you can use for JavaScript. Then coming to the section called IDE. What is the IDE? IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. So we'll briefly, if you don't know IDE and code editors, feel free to skip this video. If you don't know, I'll give you a brief about it. So what is the IDE is, let's say if you are writing a piece of code, so that could be in a single file. But when you are working with multiple files or in a project that contains multiple files, so at that time a IDE will be helpful, because if you have some files inside a folder, so inside a IDE you could see all those files. So I could show you an example. So let's say these are all those files I have. This is a React Native project that I was working on. So you can see there are a lot of files, right? So all these files we have in this IDE, and this IDE called as VS Code, where I can see all these files I have, right? So that's a basic example of what is an IDE. And then it is saying that if you have not selected any IDE, you can consider these things. First one is Visual Studio Code or VS Code, which is very popular, and it is by Microsoft, and it is free, and it is cross platform. What that means is it is available for Windows, Linux, Mac, and everything. And then there is another editor as well, which is Webster, that is also cross platform, but that is a paid one. Okay, then there is a notice here that for Windows there is also Visual Studio, not to be confused with Visual Studio Code. So you need to understand that the, Visual Studio and Visual Studio Code are two different IDE. Visual Studio is both are by Microsoft, by the way, and Visual Studio, that is a heavy boy. When I'm saying heavy boy, it's like a heavyweight IDE, and that is mostly used for .NET C# applications. But we will be learning JavaScript in Visual Studio Code, not in Visual Studio. Both are different. And Visual Studio Code is very lightweight, and you can do almost all kind of irrespective of language. Every language is supported over here in the VS Code and Visual Studio Code, so you can work over here. Then coming to the lightweight editor. So apart from Visual Studio Code and Webster, there are also some lightweight editors, and the main difference between lightweight editor and IDE is that IDE works on a project level that I showed you. Visual Studio Code is an IDE and it holds a complete project, right? But a lightweight editor, that's more responsible for editing a single file. When you have only one file, so it could edit or do operation and that quickly, right? So some of the examples of those lightweight editors are Sublime Text, which is a very popular one, by the way. I was using that also when I was in college or something, and Notepad++, which is very popular, and then also you have Beams and all those things. Emacs, I have never used this one, but I have used Sublime, Notepad++, and Beam. Okay, then coming to the last point, that there is a lot of IDE, and something is better than another one, and there is always a preference of the someone prefers this one, someone prefers that one. So there is no point of getting confused, or let's not come to that debate that this IDE is better than the other. So that's the gist of this video. So that was a quick video on this one, and in the next video we'll explore the next section of it, which is 1.4. Thank you for staying connected.